1986, I was finishing my law degree up at UB, and I had a choice of waiting to find a law job or take a teaching job because I had taught since the 70s while I was in college. And I picked Jamestown because when I was in my 20s, I worked for the Appalachian Regional Commission. So I already knew Jamestown and Cat County and Allegheny County, and I liked it. And people were very nice to me here. So I thought, I like Rochester, but I'll try Jamestown. I'm teaching the Beyond the Binary course this semester. And when I talked to my students, I said, when I came here in '86, I couldn't tell anybody I was gay because I thought I'd get fired. And now I'm standing in front of you teaching a course about LGBTQ issues. And there's LGBTQ students in my class who are open and out at 17 or 18. I said, you can't imagine how happy that makes me feel, that I lived long enough to see that in my life, that you kids don't have to hide, because it's destructive. And they're not. I've got a bi person and a gay person and a lesbian person, and they're all out, and it's just like, I said, that's like the happiest thing you could do for me. We're all free to be who we are. So that's probably the thing that I care the most about. I did advise at one point the Pride Club. I'm back to advising it. One time at commencement, I'm in the back of the graduation, and this lady in her 80s comes up to me and she goes, Mr. Rabb? I go, yeah. She goes, can I give you a hug? I said, sure, I like hugs. And so she gives me this big hug, and she says, well, I'm a lesbian and my partner has since died. But she said, I used to like reading articles about you in the newspaper because you were standing up for us. I started crying. And she said, you made my life better. And so, a lot of times I don't even know I'm doing this, but it's so nice when they come up to me and say that. It's just like, well, now I know why I was doing what I was doing. In the beginning, when I first came out, it was a little rocky here. But we got it to the point where now I have, 2 gay colleagues, a trans colleague. We paved the way for those changes. And I took a lot of heat in town, but I was the president of city council for 10 years. I was the only openly gay elected official in the 8 counties of Western New York, and I was still taking heat for that. Rockefeller Institute for Local Governance, SUNY, it's basically designed to do research on governmental problems in local and state government. But the year, not this year, but the year before, after I left council, because the voters had other plans for me, as I like to say, they contacted me and they said, well, would you run the New York State Municipal Clerks Institute for us, training clerks from here to Long Island and up into the North Country. So that summer I ran the Clerks Institute. We did really well. We increased enrollment by 40%. They were thrilled, I was thrilled. By the end of it, I was exhausted because I had to be there in the summer for about, a week to 10 days. And we had town clerks, village clerks, city clerks, we had everybody down there. It got to the point where they figured they couldn't afford to run the program anymore because of the subsidy they had to put into it. And they said, well, we're really sorry because we really liked what you did, but would you consider applying for the fellowship, the Richard P. Nathan Fellowship? And I said, sure, why not? So I put in a fellowship application studying fiscal stress in 8 Western New York cities, small cities. And so I was the first community college professor to get it, and right now the only. There's only 2 of us in New York State that have it, myself and a colleague from the University of Rochester. One of my students, smartest kid I ever had, amazing. I wanted to sit down and let him teach the class. But he did the Model European Union with me. Then he goes to Northwestern after graduating from us. In his senior year, I got a call from Northwestern. Well, we want to put him up for a Rhodes or Marshall scholarship. Would you support that? Well, I almost fell out of my chair. That's pretty prestigious. I said, hell yeah. I said, why? I said, I know he's smart, but why do you think he stands out? And they said, well, he is smart, and he's a nice young man. But he also went to a community college, and he had that significant experience with the Model European Union as a freshman and sophomore. So would you write a letter saying why he should get either a Rhodes or a Marshall? I said, absolutely. So I wrote the letter. I said, you tell me what you want me to change, and I'll change it. I did. And then he got the Marshall, and there's only 40 Marshalls a year where you get a full free ride to get a master's in public administration at the London School of Economics. I remember I put the announcement, I said, well, now I can retire. I get a student from ours who got a Marshall, which is extraordinarily prestigious. And I have another student, if I can just tell another story. I'm really proud of these kids. But Derek, he went here, and then he wanted to study abroad in England, and he had the eligibility to apply for a Gilman, which is very competitive. Only 1 out of 5 get it, especially to study in Western Europe. And I'm the Gilman officer, and I also rank the applications for the Gilman people. And I said to Derek, I said, well, I'll help you with this, but you got to meet with me once a week, write 2 essays, and they have to be perfect, because that's how you're going to win this. Well, he got it, and I was so proud of him. In fact, it was our first shot with him. Gilman called me up, and they wanted to know what we were doing, that we were so successful. And I told them, I said, I just work with the students, because we then won 2 others, defying all the odds. What a pleasure to see these kids. And they're ours. They're JCC kids.